Hey guys, welcome back to another Teacher Octopus English video. Today, we're going to be talking about comparatives and superlatives. So let's begin. So whenever we are using comparatives or superlatives, we are comparing two and sometimes more things. In the case of comparatives, we're specifically comparing two things, and we are going to add ER to an adjective whenever we are comparing two things. For example, big is an adjective, and when we add ER, it becomes bigger. Small is smaller. Tall is taller, and fast is faster. Now we're going to use comparatives specifically when we compare two things, okay? So this is how we use it. For example, A is, then we have an adjective, ER, then B. Let me explain it with some examples. The car is the noun. The car is bigger than the bike, okay? The dog is faster than the turtle, ER. The teacher is prettier than the gorilla, ER. Okay, so when we're comparing two things, we are going to add ER to the adjective to signal which one is the bigger one, the faster one, the prettier one, or any other adjective you want to use. Now, let's look at some examples, and then I'm going to show you exactly how to write some of these words. Okay, the dog is faster than the cat, so the word is faster. So the adjective is fast, but the comparative form is faster. The tree is taller than the giraffe. Tall is the adjective. Taller is the comparative. The church is older than the house. Old is the adjective. Older the comparative. My mom is nicer than my teacher. Nice is the adjective, nicer the comparative. And Cher is more famous than Sunny. Famous, in this case, we're going to use the word more. We're not saying famous, sir. Okay, we're using the word more, famous, to describe Cher. Look at this word after every single adjective and its comparative form. We're always going to use then something else. We're comparing two things. And remember, this is THAN because THEN means something different. Now, how do we add ER properly when we're writing comparatives? The first one, when we have the vowel, the consonant, vowel, consonant, or the CVC, for example, in fat, which is F, consonant, A, vowel, T, consonant, or sad, consonant, vowel, consonant, or thin, consonant, vowel, consonant. And we have a short vowel sound like fat, sad, thin, we're going to double the second consonant. For example, fat, we need two T's. F-A-T-T-E-R, sad, we need two D's. D-D-E-R, thin, two N's, N-N-E-R. Okay, so consonant, vowel, consonant with a short vowel sound. We need to double up this consonant, the second consonant. Now, when the words end in E, we simply add a letter R. So rude ends in E. We're not going to do rudier with two E's. No, we're just going to have one E, one R. Ruder. Nice, the same, nicer. Okay, just add the letter R. Now, what happens if an adjective ends in Y, for example, happy? Then we're going to say bye bye Y, or we're going to remove the Y and add I-E-R. So the Y becomes an I, and then we just add ER. Happier is H-A-P-P-I-E-R. The same thing for silly, sillier, I-E-R. Or angry, angrier. Any other adjective that ends in Y. Now, whenever we have three or more syllables in the adjective, we're not going to add an ER. And even some words with two syllables, we're gonna need to use the word more. So when we have three or more syllables, we are going to use the word more and then the adjective. For example, beautiful becomes more beautiful. Amazing becomes more amazing. Fantastic becomes more fantastic. Why? Because these are longer words with three or more syllables. Now, Some adjectives you need to learn by heart. For example, the irregular adjectives of good and bad. They're irregular because their comparative and superlative forms are different than what you'd expect. So normally some of my students say good, and then they think the comparative for good is gooder, or goodest in the case of the superlative, or bad, badder, baddest. But in this case, they have a different form for the comparative and the superlative. The correct way of saying is good, better, and best, bad, worse, and worst. So let's remember this, right? It's not gooder and it's not badder. It's good, better, best, bad, worse, worst. Now, in the case of superlatives, this is what we use when we are comparing three or more items, objects, or people. So when we find the one that is the most similar to the adjective that we are using, for example, the most big, the most small, the most thin, then instead of adding ER, we are going to add EST. So let's take a look at a little chart with the adjective, the comparative, and the superlative. So angry becomes angrier than the angriest. Easy, easier than the easiest. Famous, more famous than the most famous. Fat, fatter than the fattest. Modern, more modern than the most modern. Old, older than the oldest. Silly, sillier than the silliest. So look, for most of them, at least the ones with two syllables, they end in EST. When we use superlative, it means nothing can be angrier, nothing can be easier, nothing can be fatter, okay? They are the most, the easiest, the angriest, the fattest, the oldest, the silliest. So nothing can be more than themselves. Now, let's look at some examples using superlatives. So this is the biggest castle, EST, right? So there is no other castle bigger than this one. That is the scariest ride, EST. No other ride is scarier than this one. She is the most beautiful contestant. No other contestant is more beautiful. Now, remember, when we use the comparatives with three or more syllables, we use the word more, right? But when we're using the superlative, we're going to use the word most. So beautiful becomes the most beautiful. Amazing becomes the most amazing. Fantastic becomes the most fantastic. Now, if you like today's content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. We're going to come back next week with another video just like this one. So if you're finished, let's move on to the practice session, and we're going to leave that link just down below. I'm going to see you guys later. Let's go on to the practice.